Building a smart home on a budget, a beginner's guide. Imagine an ordinary weekend morning when the sun rays are just beginning to break through the thick curtains of your bedroom. You have not yet opened your eyes, but your apartment has already woken up and is delicately preparing the space for your comfortable awakening. Somewhere in the kitchen, an electric kettle has quietly started humming, heating the water to the ideal temperature for your morning coffee. And in the bathroom, the heated floor has turned on so that your feet do not touch the cold tiles. Many people still live in the grip of a persistent stereotype that such scenes are only possible in movies about the distant future or in the mansions of eccentric millionaires. We are used to thinking that smart home technologies require laying kilometers of expensive cables, even at the rough renovation stage, and hiring a team of highly paid engineers. However, today, I intend to completely destroy this outdated myth and prove the opposite to you in practice. Modern realities are such that absolutely everyone can turn the most ordinary apartment into high-tech housing, even with a very modest budget. Let us begin our immersion into the world of home automation with the most important psychological barrier that stops most beginners. Fear of the complexity of setup and fear of high prices make us postpone the purchase of our first smart device for years. But the truth is that you absolutely do not need to buy everything at once, spending hundreds of thousands of rubles on it. The secret of a budget smart home lies in the gradual increase of functionality, just as we assemble a construction set piece by piece. The first rule of our budget guide says that you need to start small, but do it wisely and with an eye on the future expansion of the system. You should not run to the store for an expensive refrigerator with internet access, because the real benefit from it will be minimal. Instead, we will focus on those things that really change the quality of life and bring tangible comfort every day. Before we move on to specific devices, it is necessary to understand the foundation on which your system will be built. Many beginners make the same fatal mistake by buying all devices that work exclusively through Wi-Fi. Imagine a narrow country road on which you are trying to release 100 cars at the same time, and you will understand what will happen to your home router. If you connect 5 light bulbs, 2 sockets, and a vacuum cleaner to it, it will most likely cope. But when adding new gadgets, the network will start to work unstably. That is why professionals in the field of design and technology strongly recommend using a special communication protocol called Zigbee. This is a special language in which smart devices communicate with each other without loading your main network for the internet. For this, you will need only one small device called a gateway or hub, which will become the conductor of your home orchestra. This is the first investment that will pay off handsomely, thanks to the stability of the entire system. Now let us talk about light, since it is with light that the magic of a smart home begins for most users. Lighting control can radically change the atmosphere in your home and give you completely new sensations from a familiar interior. Here you face a choice between buying smart light bulbs or installing smart switches, and this choice directly depends on your budget and the type of lamps. If you have a chandelier with 5 or 6 arms hanging in your room, buying smart lamps for each socket can cost a pretty penny. In such a case, it will be much more rational and cheaper to replace the switch on the wall itself, which will allow you to control the entire chandelier as a whole. A smart switch costs not much more than an ordinary high-quality mechanism, but gives you the ability to turn off the light with a voice command or through an app without getting out of your warm bed. However, if you want to change the color temperature or host color parties, then you still cannot do without smart lamps. Special attention should be paid to the issue of security, because a smart home is not only entertainment but also the safety of your property. The most useful and quickly paying off investment in budget automation is a water leak sensor. Imagine a terrifying picture when you are at work and a flexible hose of a faucet bursts in your bathroom. Repairing your apartment and compensating for damage to the neighbors below can cost hundreds of thousands, while a small wireless sensor will cost you the price of a good lunch in a cafe. You simply put this small tablet on the floor, under the sink, or behind the washing machine, and it vigilantly monitors the dryness of the surface. In an advanced version, this sensor can be linked to an electric drive on the pipes, which will automatically shut off the water at the first signs of an accident. Even if you do not have money for automatic valves yet, just a notification on your phone will allow you to promptly call your neighbors or the management company. This is exactly the case when technology saves your nerves and wallet from catastrophic expenses. Another important element of comfort is the climate, and here we again resort to a trick so as not to buy expensive equipment. You absolutely do not need to change your old air conditioner or television for new models with support for smart functions. There is a brilliant little device called a smart remote, and it looks like a small black puck. This gadget can imitate the signals of ordinary infrared remotes that we have been using for decades. You just put this puck in the room, teach it commands from the air conditioner remote, and now your old air conditioner becomes smart. You can turn on the cooling of the room 20 minutes before arriving home simply by pressing a button on your smartphone while riding in a stuffy subway. The same applies to the television, which can now be turned on and off by voice while lying on the couch and not looking for the remote in the folds of a blanket. This is an incredibly budget-friendly solution that gives a feeling of premium comfort and self-care. We cannot ignore the topic of smart sockets, which are a real salvation for anxious people. Surely each of you is familiar with this obsessive feeling of fear when you have already left the house and suddenly begin to doubt whether you turned off the iron or the hair curler. A smart socket solves this problem once and for all, allowing you to check the status of the device in the app and de-energize it remotely from anywhere in the world. In addition, such sockets can count the consumed electricity, which will help you identify the most gluttonous consumers in the house and optimize utility costs. You can set up a scenario in which a floor lamp in the living room will turn on automatically at sunset, creating the effect of the presence of the owners even if you have gone on vacation. This is a simple but effective way to scare away uninvited guests and create a cozy atmosphere for your return. Now let us touch upon the heart of any smart home system, namely the voice assistant. In the Russian-speaking space, the undisputed leader is the voice assistant from a well-known technology company, but the choice is always yours. A smart speaker is not just a device for listening to music, it is a real command center for your home. It is much more pleasant to ask a virtual assistant to turn off the light, set a timer for cooking pasta, or tell the news than to reach for your phone every time. For a budget start, the most compact version of the speaker is perfect, the functionality of which is in no way inferior to its older and more expensive brothers. You can place such small speakers in every room, creating a multi-room system when music plays synchronously throughout the apartment, accompanying you as you move. This creates a completely amazing feeling of futurism and comfort that was previously available only in elite hotels. An important part of creating a budget smart home is writing scenarios that link all your devices into a single organism. Scenarios are logical chains of actions that are performed automatically when certain conditions occur. For example, you can create a scenario called "I am leaving," which is activated by a single phrase or by pressing a wireless button at the front door. By this command, the system will turn off all the lights in the apartment, de-energize potentially dangerous sockets, switch the air conditioner to economy mode, and activate motion sensors. You no longer need to run through the rooms clicking switches, because the smart home will do everything for you in 1 second. Another popular scenario is movie, when the curtains close, the main light goes out, and the decorative lighting behind the television turns on at minimum brightness. All this is configured in a simple app on the phone and does not require any programming skills. Many beginning enthusiasts often forget about such an important aspect as monitoring the microclimate in the room. Temperature and humidity sensors cost mere pennies, but their health benefits are invaluable, especially during the heating season. Dry air in the apartment can cause headaches, poor sleep, and skin problems, but we often do not notice this. A small sensor with an electronic ink screen will tell you when it is time to turn on the air humidifier, which, by the way, can also be made smart through a socket. You can set up automation so that the humidifier turns on itself when the humidity falls below 40% and turns off when comfortable values are reached. In this way, the equipment will work only when it is really necessary, saving water and electricity. A separate mention deserves the topic of curtain automation, which is traditionally considered an element of luxury. Indeed, professional motorized cornices can be quite expensive, but here too, Chinese engineers have come up with a budget solution. There are special motors that are hung directly on your old cornice and move the curtains by riding along the pipe or profile on small wheels. This device costs many times less than a full replacement of the cornice and is installed in literally 5 minutes without drilling walls. Imagine how pleasant it is to wake up not from the harsh sound of an alarm clock, but from natural sunlight when the curtains automatically open at a set time. Such an awakening promotes the production of the right hormones and provides a boost of energy for the entire upcoming working day. In the process of creating a smart home, you will inevitably face the choice of an ecosystem in which your devices will live. It is very important at the initial stage to decide whether you will build a system based on domestic platforms or choose foreign analogs. For a Russian user, domestic systems often turn out to be more convenient thanks to excellent localization and integration with popular services. In addition, the servers of local companies work faster, which ensures an instantaneous response of devices to your commands. However, no one forbids you to experiment and combine devices of different brands through special aggregator apps. The main rule is to make sure before buying another gadget that it is compatible with your current system and can be added to the general list of devices. One should not forget about such small things as wireless buttons and control cubes, which add tactility to your smart home. Voice control is wonderful, but sometimes, especially at night, you do not want to say anything out loud so as not to wake up the household. A small wireless button glued to the bedside table or under the top of a coffee table solves this problem. You can program a single press to turn off the light, a double press to turn on the night light, and a long hold to turn off all the electronics in the room. This gives you flexibility of control and allows you to interact with the house in the way that is convenient for you at that particular moment. Such buttons work from a single battery for years and can be placed absolutely anywhere your imagination reaches. Another interesting aspect of budget automation is smart lighting of work areas, for example in the kitchen or at a desk. An ordinary LED strip can be connected through an inexpensive smart controller and it will turn into a functional interior element. You will be able to change the brightness of the work area lighting in the kitchen depending on the time of day. A bright, cold light for cooking and a warm, dim light for a romantic dinner. This does not require complex installation and high costs, but visually makes the renovations significantly more expensive and modern. Playing with light is the easiest way to zone space in small apartments, and smart technologies provide endless possibilities for this. Let us talk about motion and presence sensors, because there is a significant difference between them that is important to understand. An ordinary motion sensor notices you only when you are actively moving and can turn off the light if you freeze with a book on the couch. A presence sensor works using a more complex technology, using microwave radars, and is able to notice even your breathing. For walk-through areas, such as a corridor or a dressing room, a cheap motion sensor that turns on the light for a couple of minutes is perfect. But for a living room or a bathroom, it is better to pay a little more and get a presence sensor so that the light does not go out at the most inopportune moment. Competent placement of these sensors will allow you to practically forget about the existence of switches on the walls. It is very important to understand that a smart home is not a static system that you installed once and forgot forever. It is a living organism that will develop and change along with your habits and needs. Perhaps in a month, you will realize that you lack an opening sensor on the front door so that the light in the hallway turns on instantly. Or you may decide to add a smart feeder for your pet to dispense food on a schedule, even when you are late at work. The beauty of the budget approach is precisely that you can experiment without fear of losing a large sum of money. If some device did not take root or a scenario turned out to be inconvenient, you simply change the settings or move the sensor to another place. In concluding our long conversation about a budget smart home, I want to emphasize the main idea once again. Technologies are created to serve people, free up their time for more important things, and give a sense of security. There is no need to chase expensive brands and complex professional solutions if your goal is comfort in an ordinary city apartment. Start with one smart light bulb and a speaker. Feel the taste of controlling reality, and you will no longer be able to stop. A smart home today is available to a student, a pensioner, and a young family because the prices for basic devices had become incredibly democratic. Let your home become the place where the walls do not just protect from the wind, but also take care of you, anticipating your desires. The future has already arrived, and it is much friendlier and more accessible than it seemed to us only yesterday.